Things are going well. The conversations are easy. The energy feels right. There's no drama, no confusion. And then, out of nowhere, someone pulls back. Not because something went wrong, but almost because nothing did. This is one of those experiences that can feel deeply personal, even a little unsettling. When things are good, we expect momentum. We expect closeness. So when distance shows up instead, it leaves us wondering what we missed. But this pattern isn't random. And it's not always about you. At a basic level, pulling away when things are going well is rarely about losing interest. More often, it's about what closeness brings up inside someone. When things feel light and surface level, it's easy to stay present. But when connection starts to feel real, steady, and emotionally safe, it quietly asks questions people don't always know how to answer. Questions like, what does this mean? What's expected of me now? And can I actually handle this? For some people, those questions create pressure. Not external pressure, but internal pressure. And distance becomes a way to relieve it. One common reason this happens is fear of emotional exposure. When things are going well, the stakes rise. You're no longer just chatting or spending time together. You're being seen. And being seen, even in a good way, can feel risky. Think about someone who's happy to joke, flirt, or connect casually, but starts to change when conversations deepen, when plans become more intentional, when there's consistency instead of unpredictability. Suddenly, they're quieter, slower to respond, less emotionally available. What's happening isn't rejection, it's self-protection. Emotional closeness has a way of spotlighting vulnerabilities people have learned to keep hidden. Old insecurities, fear of being disappointed, fear of disappointing someone else. Pulling away gives them space to avoid sitting with those feelings. Another reason people pull back is a discomfort with stability itself. This one sounds strange, but it's more common than we think. For people who grew up around unpredictability, emotionally, relationally, or even just in life, calm can feel unfamiliar. When things are chaotic, there's something to react to, something to fix, something to chase. But when things are steady and good, there's nothing to hide behind. No distraction. Just the relationship, exactly as it is. So instead of feeling peaceful, stability can feel unsettling, almost boring. Or worse, suspicious. Some people are so used to ups and downs that consistency triggers a quiet alarm. Their nervous system doesn't recognize good as safe. It recognizes intensity as familiar. You see this when someone thrives in drama, but seems restless in calm situations. Or when someone says they want something healthy, but unconsciously pulls away the moment it starts to look like that. There's also the issue of identity. When things start going well with someone, it can challenge how a person sees themselves. If someone is used to being independent, detached, or not the relationship type, a genuine connection can feel like a threat to that identity. They might start thinking, this isn't who I am, or I don't want to become someone who depends on this. Even if the connection feels good, it creates internal conflict. And rather than renegotiating their self-image, they create distance. This often shows up as mixed signals. Warm one moment, distant the next. It's not manipulation. It's confusion. A tug of war between wanting closeness and wanting to stay aligned with how they've always defined themselves. Another powerful factor is fear of future responsibility. When things are going well, it quietly implies continuity. Tomorrow, next month, maybe even long-term. That implication alone can be overwhelming. Not because someone is being asked for commitment right now, but because they can sense it approaching. Pulling away becomes a way to pause time, to stop the story from moving forward before they've decided if they're ready for the next chapter. This is especially common in people who associate commitment with loss. Loss of freedom, loss of self, loss of options. Even if none of that is actually happening, the perception is enough to trigger withdrawal. And then there's past emotional baggage. Old wounds don't disappear just because something new feels good. In fact, they often show up more clearly when something matters. If someone has been hurt before, deeply, a positive connection can feel like standing at the edge of something they once fell from. Their body remembers the pain, even if their mind wants to stay open. Pulling away becomes a reflex, not a decision. You might notice this when someone starts to pull back right after a particularly good moment. A meaningful conversation, a vulnerable admission, a feeling of closeness that lingers. The good moment doesn't scare them because it was bad. It scares them because it mattered. What's important to understand here is that pulling away doesn't always mean someone doesn't care. Sometimes it means they care more than they know how to handle. That doesn't mean distance should always be tolerated. It doesn't mean you wait indefinitely or try to fix someone. But it does mean the behavior is often about regulation, not rejection. In everyday life, this shows up in subtle ways. A friend who goes quiet after a deep heart-to-heart. A partner who becomes less available when things feel secure. Someone who leans in during uncertainty, but backs away when things finally settle. From the outside, it can look confusing. From the inside, it often feels like relief mixed with guilt. So if you've ever been on the receiving end of this, it's worth remembering. Not everyone pulls away because something went wrong. Some people pull away because something went right, and they didn't know what to do with that. And if you've ever noticed this pattern in yourself, it's not a flaw. It's a signal. A sign that closeness is touching something deeper than comfort. The quiet truth is this. Good things ask more of us than bad ones. They ask us to stay present, to be consistent, to allow ourselves to be seen without armor. And for some people, that's the hardest part of all. Sometimes distance isn't about ending connection. Sometimes it's about learning how to stand inside it.